Are you hungry? Because if so, you're in the right place. Today we're making a classical steak tartare.
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. I've been away. Well, you haven't noticed because there's still an episode every week. But I've been away on summer vacation. If you follow the channel, you probably saw the Görgött on tour episode I did on Barbeloo. But now it's back to reality. I'm back in my home studio and we're gonna make a classic steak tartare. I've made a lot of tartare on the channel, different kinds, different pieces of meat, but this is really the classical one, the French one. But before we have a look at the ingredients, please do me a huge favor. If you're not a subscriber to the channel yet, please hit that subscribe button and check the bell icon so that you get a notification every Tuesday when a new episode comes out. But now let's have a look at the board. Obviously, for a classical French tartare, you need a fillet of beef. I've made hard tartare, I made tartare ribeye. I think a lot of these cuts work really well. But for the classical one, you need fillet. On top of that, we need some Tabasco if you like it spicy. You can leave it out if you don't. Some Worcestershire sauce, some Dijon Mustard, some capers, Cornichons, Shallots, Anchovies, and what I don't have here, because I forgot to take it out, we need egg yolks. I'm making 3 portions, so this is like proper portions, main course portions. So this is 600 grams. And I usually calculate like 2 cornichons per portion and 1 proper anchovy per portion. And I would say maybe a teaspoon of capers, 1.5, and the same for shallots. But we'll look at that later. So don't forget, what's not on here are the egg yolks. We need to start with prepping the beef. Now, I won't show you the whole thing because it will take a while. I'll just show you 1 slice. So, ideally, you take it out of the fridge that it's cool because then it's easier to slice. And here again, you just go for what you personally like, right? If you want it finer, you can go finer. But I like to have a bit of bite to it. So you saw we sliced off probably 3 millimeters or so. And then we sliced that again, and now we're just cutting it up. And I think it makes a huge difference of cutting it by hand like this, as opposed to buying mincemeat or asking your butcher to mince it, because it's a much nicer texture. If you put it through a grinder, it will be much more kind of mushy and lose all of its texture. So this is what you want, or at least what I want. If you want it different, make it different. So I'm going to cut up the rest here, and then we'll head over to the prep for the vegetables, the shallots and the cornichons. So I will leave the capers whole because you see they're very small. If you don't like that, chop them up as well. Let's start with our anchovies. We're just gonna very thinly slice these, and they will just disintegrate into the mix. But they add a very nice salty umami flavor to the tartare. So they're very important. Don't leave them out. Even if you say, oh, I don't like anchovies, I promise you, you will not taste them as anchovies. They will just enhance the tartare. And don't worry about cleaning your cutting board in between now, because all of this is going to then go straight into the meat. Now for the cornichons, again, we're gonna chop them up relatively fine. I'll just do one. Like so. Put that back there. Just wash my hands quickly. And this looks like 2 shallots, but it is just one. It was sitting together like this. What we'll do is this will chop quite finely as well. Like so. You see there. So do your anchovies, your cornichons and your shallots, and then we're pretty much ready to start mixing. So I'll see you in a bit. We're ready to mix our tartare. A couple of things I want to mention. There's 3 more ingredients you need that I didn't have on the board: olive oil, salt and pepper. We have our egg yolks now. I do 1 per portion, and the rest is all ready. In some restaurants you will get it all separate. So you have just the meat part, you have the cornichon, etc., and then you mix it yourself on your plate. But I actually prefer, if I have guests and I make this, I prefer to mix it so that I get it to taste the way I want it. But everyone is different. Another thing, some people like to have parsley in it or chives. I do this without any extra herbs or no herbs, because I prefer it that way. So let's get going. We'll add all the stuff we've chopped up. We'll add the egg yolks. We'll do a bit of pre-seasoning. Probably going to need a bit more. And again, like Tabasco, if you don't like it with a bit of heat, then just don't add it. There's no musts in cooking. But I like it a bit spicy. Dijon, it's about, I would say, half a teaspoon per portion. And we leave everything here so that we could spice it up if we're not happy. Now we're going to add a bit of olive oil. We'll mix the egg yolks up with the mustard. I would say we're adding about a tablespoon. That should be good. And now we just mix. We'll take my trusted silicone instead, because then you can also scrape down the edges easier. Let's just see where we stand. It needs more of everything, I would say, except mustard. It needs a bit more pepper. It needs quite a bit more salt, so a really good pinch. 2. We need some more Worcestershire sauce. And then we'll mix this again. I'll try. I'm happy like that. But you see, just do whatever makes you happy. You know, if you want to add a bit more spiciness or a bit more mustard, there's no rules. There's guidelines, but no rules. The only thing that's left for us is now to plate this up. Now, feel free to serve this any way you want. You can use a ring like this, fill it, take it off, looks nice. But I like this rustical. I think it's a rustical dish, it should be served rustical. So we're just doing this with a spoon. Try to take about a third. And I know it doesn't look like much like this, obviously. If you want it nice, do it in a ring or with some chives on top or whatever. Or you can, I think it's always nice with a bit of extra egg yolk. So you can always make a hole. Like if you put it in a ring, make a hole, put the egg yolk, then it's nice with the egg yolk in the middle. But this is, for me, the perfect way. We're going to eat this with a piece of toast, sourdough bread that I made this morning. And that's all you need. So let's dig in. Perfect sourdough bread, salted butter, and our classical steak tartare. Now, if you want to know how to make this bread and you haven't seen it before, I'll put a link here. But now it's time to give this a try. It's just such a delight. Salty, has a nice kind of creaminess to it from the egg yolk and the olive oil. It has texture. Like when you're chewing through it, sometimes you end up on a caper, bite that, have a bit of texture, a bit of salty explosion. This is so good. Now, as with all kind of recipes, right, it's what you prefer. I'm just trying to show you a good baseline, and then you can experiment from there. But I hope you enjoyed this, and that's if you stuck with me this far, that must have been something you enjoyed about this episode. So do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button. It's just down there, takes you a second, but it's really valuable for me to get my content out there in the YouTube universe. But that's about it for today. If you have any questions about the recipe, leave them in the comment below. And if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe, check the bell icon. But now that's it. Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.